Korea Real Estate Explained. Episode 3. Buying property in Korea as a foreigner. What's allowed, what's restricted, and how the process actually works. Let's start with the short answer. Yes, foreigners can buy property in Korea. South Korea has relatively open rules for foreign property ownership. There is no citizenship or residency requirement, no approval process in most cases, and no restrictions on repatriating profits. But there are exceptions, reporting requirements, and financing constraints that make the process meaningfully different from buying as a Korean resident. That's what this episode is about. What can foreigners actually buy? Most property types are open. Apartments, full ownership rights, no special restrictions. You can buy, sell, rent out, or hold as investment. Commercial property and offices, generally unrestricted as well. Land, mostly open, with important exceptions. Most agricultural and forested land requires government approval under the Foreign Land Acquisition Act. Urban residential land is generally unrestricted. The key principle: if you're buying a standard apartment in a city, you're almost certainly in the clear. 3 categories where foreign buying is restricted or monitored. First, military protection zones. Foreigners cannot purchase land in designated military protection areas, zones near army bases and certain coastal areas. Violations result in a forced sale. Second, agricultural land. The Farmland Act restricts foreign purchase of fields, paddies, and orchards. Prior approval is required, and you must demonstrate agricultural purpose. Very rarely granted. Third, regulated zones, what's called Toji Georai Hoga Guyok, properties in land transaction. Permission zones require district office approval before purchase. These often cover high-demand Seoul areas, including parts of Gangnam. As of late 2025, MAPO is also included. Here's the step-by-step buying process for a foreigner. Step 1. Get an alien registration number, required for all official transactions. Apply at the local immigration office. Takes 1 to 2 weeks. Step 2. Open a Korean bank account, required for payment. Non-residents can open accounts but must visit in person at a major bank with passport and visa documents. Step 3. Find and verify the property. Check the registry, Deonggibu Deongbon, for liens and mortgages. Hire a licensed real estate agent, Gongin Jungasim. Step 4. Sign the contract and pay 10% deposit, legally binding from this point. Use a bilingual agent or attorney. Step 5. Pay the balance on closing day, typically 1 to 3 months after contract, and register the ownership transfer within 60 days. Pay acquisition tax at closing. Can foreigners get a Korean mortgage? The practical answer depends on residency status. Resident foreigners, those with F2, F4, F5, or F6 visas, can generally access mortgage products from major Korean banks. LTV rules are the same as for citizens. Non-resident foreigners face a much harder path. Korean banks are reluctant to issue mortgages without residency. Most non-resident foreign buyers fund purchases entirely in cash. One important group: Korean Americans and overseas Koreans on F4 visas. F4 holders are treated similarly to residents for banking purposes and can access mortgage products with an easier overall transaction experience. 2 reporting requirements you must not miss. First, Foreign Exchange Transaction Report. Any payment from overseas to purchase Korean property must be reported to the Bank of Korea under the Foreign Exchange Transactions Act. Your bank typically handles this, but confirm it's been filed. Second, Property Acquisition Report. Foreign buyers must file with the district office within 60 days of purchase. Failure to report results in fines. Your real estate agent usually handles this, but verify. After purchase, there's no ongoing annual foreign ownership report. You simply pay standard Korean property taxes like any owner. Can you get your money out? Yes, Korea allows full repatriation of property sale proceeds. What you need: the original property acquisition report, your purchase contract showing the foreign currency inflow, proof of capital gains tax paid, and bank statements. Korean capital gains tax must be settled before repatriation. The process: sell the property, pay CGT, obtain a tax clearance certificate, present to your bank, wire proceeds overseas. Typically takes 2 to 4 weeks. There is no cap on the amount you can repatriate. but transactions over the equivalent of 50,000 US dollars require additional paperwork. 3 practical challenges that make this harder than it sounds. First, the language barrier. All official documents, contracts, registry extracts, tax filings are in Korean. Legal and bureaucratic language is specialized. Use a bilingual agent or Korean attorney, especially for your first transaction. Second, banking friction for non-residents. Opening a Korean bank account without being physically present is difficult or impossible. Large wire transfers require advanced planning with your overseas bank. Third, agent quality variance. Not all licensed agents have experience with foreign buyers. An agent who speaks English but doesn't know foreign buyer reporting requirements is a liability. Ask specifically about their foreign buyer track record before engaging. What does this mean specifically for the Korean diaspora? A few distinctions worth knowing. On inheritance, many diaspora members inherit Korean property. Inherited property must be registered and taxed in Korea. The estate process requires a Korean attorney and certified translations. On family transfers, gifting property to parents or children in Korea is subject to Korean gift tax. Rates are progressive up to 50%. Transfers between non-residents and residents require Bank of Korea reporting. On managing remotely, many overseas Koreans rent out Korean property while abroad. The preferred structure is joint tenants. Lower management overhead, no monthly collection. Income from Korean property is taxable in Korea and potentially in your country of residence. Capital gains tax for foreign sellers. 3 things to know. First, same rates as Korean residents. Foreign sellers face the same CGT as Koreans, 6 to 45% on gains, with multipliers for short holding periods or multiple properties. Second, withholding for non-residents. If the seller is a non-resident, the buyer must withhold 10% of the purchase price and remit it to the National Tax Service on the seller's behalf. This creates friction, but is manageable with the right advisors. Third, tax treaties. Korea has tax treaties with the US, Canada, UK, Australia, and most major economies. Capital gains on Korean real estate are generally taxed in Korea, but you may receive a credit in your country of residence. Avoiding double taxation. Check your specific treaty before transacting. 9 things to confirm before you commit to a purchase. Obtain your alien registration number or confirm a passport number will suffice for your case. Open a Korean bank account at a major bank. Hire a bilingual agent with verified foreign buyer experience. Check the registry, Deonggibu Deongbon, for mortgages, liens, and legal disputes. Verify the property is not in a land transaction permission zone requiring prior approval. Confirm agricultural land classification if purchasing land. Arrange your foreign currency wire. Notify your overseas bank in advance. Retain a Korean attorney or tax advisor for large value purchases. And understand your capital gains tax exposure and treaty implications before signing. 3 things to take away from this episode. 1. Foreigners can buy. The rules are actually open. Korea doesn't require residency or citizenship to purchase residential property. The restrictions that exist are specific and knowable. 2. Financing is the biggest practical barrier. Unless you're a resident or F4 visa holder, getting a Korean mortgage is very difficult. Most non-resident foreign buyers fund purchases entirely in cash. Plan your capital structure before starting. 3. Documentation and reporting are non-negotiable. Foreign exchange reports, property acquisition reports, and CGT filings are required by law. Non-compliance creates legal exposure. Use qualified professionals, especially for your first transaction. That's episode 3. Buying property in Korea as a foreigner. Next episode, LTV, DTI, and DSR, Korea's mortgage lending ratios and how they shape the entire property market. Subscribe at KRE Official and we'll see you there.